Hello?
And welcome again. This is Ted Hicks from Late Night Parents, starting this podcast a little late. On the line, I have none other than your favorite, I know he's a journalist, but I like to say your favorite blogger's blogger, because I'm talking about myself, the founder of AroundAssociation.com, Danny Thompson. Danny, what's going on?
Ted Hicks, it's always a pleasure to be on the podcast. When you get invited, it's a special feeling when you get invited to join this podcast.
Yeah, well, whatever. Yeah, well, clientele. So there's a lot to cover, and it's going to be all over the place. How much time we got?
I mean, this is your podcast. Let's rock with it.
Oh, meaning that, I know, well, I don't even know how to address this issue with you, but it is a podcast. But, so Danny, I was calling you yesterday. EJ was calling you yesterday. Everyone wants you on their podcast. And I don't know. I felt like I got ghosted yesterday. I was just dialing. And I'm like, yo, what did I do? I thought we were queued up.
Big shout out to the company Health Plan One. But last night was an awards dinner for the top people in the company, and I was fortunate to be selected as one. So the podcast couldn't get recorded the night before because I was attending the dinner for the company. So, it wasn't ghosting. It's the fact of, business comes first sometimes.
Okay. Well, congratulations on the award. Happy to hear about that. So is it true? I know tonight, because like with me, I like to talk about the business behind sports. I never like to talk about scores and all this other stuff because I like to be able to play these segments. I like for the segments to live. And I think the minute you start to attach scores and highlights and all the other stuff, it becomes static because it becomes just, that podcast is just good for that moment. I heard this much. And I'm just going to put you out there. But I know tonight everyone's talking about UNC and Duke, but I heard you were watching NBC Sports Network because Mike Tirico will be calling his first hockey game between the Red Wings and the Blackhawks. And I heard you're turning down watching Duke against UNC, Zion and all the hype that comes with that hype train. Is that true?
What I will say is I will tune in for the first few shifts of that game on NBC Sports Network because at 8:58 p.m. Eastern time, my television will not move from the letters ESPN, and I will be focused on watching the North Carolina Tar Heels and some team in Durham.
Oh, okay, some team in Durham. I got you. So tell me about this. This game is so hyped. Tickets are at the price of Super Bowl-style prices. They said the most expensive is $10,000. Average ticket is $2,500. Now, I know in the past, it's huge rivalry. Because I had one of my buddies who had tickets for UNC and Duke, and he sold the tickets for I think about $600. As I'm just, should I just believe this is all about Zion?
No, I think the reason why we're talking the business sports, they play again in 2 weeks. No, the ticket prices won't be as high. One, because the Smith Center is over 20,000 seats. If you go to Cameron Indoor, it's 9,100. So, and being in Cameron Indoor, of course, everybody knows the legacy of Cameron Indoor. It's one of the places, Ted, if you're going to go watch a sporting event, it's one of the things that has to be your bucket list. Go watch a game at Cameron Indoor. It's completely different than the atmosphere. And I bleed Carolina blue all day. If I put the fan hat on for a second. Going to a game at Cameron Indoor, The only other place in college basketball that comes close could either be, Allen Fieldhouse, University of Kansas, or even Rupp Arena. Even the Smith Center in Carolina. But nothing is like Cameron Indoor Stadium. Maybe the Pit out in Albuquerque, New Mexico. But when you watch a game at Duke, it's just that electric. You put on top of the fact of you go through the Duke and Carolina history. This is way before Zion. We can go back and we can talk about a whole hour podcast of the greatest games between those two teams, in the different years. So you already know you got two teams separated by 10 miles that don't like each other. On top of that, you put Zion Williamson and R.J. Barrett in this game. On top of that, you have Barack Obama supposed to be in attendance. You have Spike Lee reportedly supposed to be coming in. You have Todd Gurley of the Rams. You have other celebrities and professional athletes showing up for this game tonight. On top of all that. And it's at a point where there is no NBA games going on. NBA has come back until Thursday. So this is what you're watching tonight. No offense to Mike Tirico's debut. This is what you're watching.
and you have the hype train of ESPN talking about it all day long.
I mean, you have, let's just be honest, you have the most talked about 18, 19-year-old kids since LeBron James. There hasn't been one with this. You guys think? Can you imagine if LeBron James would have been around now with the Instagram, the Twitter, the short 15, 20, 30-second clips where LeBron was doing this stuff in high school? Can you imagine what LeBron would have been now compared to where he was 15 years ago? Because of the way social media changed everything.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, you got Zion Williamson. You got to think if he has a huge game, that's going to increase the Knicks to try to lose every other game going forward for the rest of the season to make sure they have that 14% chance.
Aren't they? Aren't they already on that track to lose?
As long as they finish the bottom three, they have the same number of odds. With the draft lottery system changing this year, the three worst teams have the same odds of getting the top pick will be at 14%. So as long as the Knicks don't pass three, Knicks fans, you have a shot at Zion Williamson. And I'll say this, R.J. Barrett's not a bad second place either. If you think that's, Zion, you don't get Zion. R.J. Barrett's not a bad second place.
Okay. So, we'll leave that there for right now. I want to switch topics with you really quick and ask you this much. Because, I know you know basketball, but I think, for the most part, you're pretty well-rounded, supporting and commentating on all different types of sports. But I want to go non-sports with you right now.
Okay.
So in the last 48 hours, Netflix has canceled Friends from College, Jessica Jones, and The Punisher. Is this the new norm for the streaming world?
Well, in the case of Jessica Jones and The Punisher, you have to think they've already canceled every other Marvel show on Netflix. Because who owns the Marvel property? It's Disney. Disney streaming service is coming, so I expect Jessica Jones to be back. I expect Punisher to be back. I expect Luke Cage to come back. I expect The Flash to come back. All the shows that were canceled by Netflix that had anything to do with Marvel, I expect to be over in the new streaming site. They're going to put, Disney's putting this all together. Now, Friends from College broke my heart because I'm a huge Friends from College fan. I love season 1. I can't wait to have a chance to binge watch season 2. So I don't think it's a new norm, Ted. I think that Netflix, like I said, in the case of the Jessica Jones and Punisher, was just clearing out what was left of the Disney side of things because Disney and Marvel, they're partnered together. But, I think they're really looking on how many people stream these shows. And I think now you're going to start seeing the best of the best writers when it comes to these shows, I think, starting to go to Netflix because most people watch Netflix more than they watch cable. So I don't think it's new norm. I think it's forcing people to do better at what they do.
Okay. Be a little bit more creative. So would you think more creativity and less reboots?
I think so, because think about it. Fuller House is gone. That was a huge reboot. You know, I think that the one thing about reboots, you know, that I get is that you get the nostalgia factor for a season or two, and then it just kind of wears off because a lot of times it's not the same as the original. You know, I mean, I watched season 1 of Fuller House, but it kind of wore off on me after a while, especially not seeing Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, which they were not seeing Michelle in a Fuller House remake kind of took away everything. You know, like right now, I think Boomerang is being redone by BET, but but the original cast members are nowhere to be found, even though Halle Berry is the executive producer. So, you know, remakes are coming, but sometimes not all remakes are good, and really, the shelf life on a remake isn't that long. So don't be surprised when Shonda Rhimes gets called by Netflix with a big number to write a show for Netflix.
You're right. Hey, so let's switch to NFL really quick, and I want to talk about Antonio Brown. I want to talk about Odell Beckham Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Both prolific receivers, game changers, and some would say divas. Where do you see Antonio Brown playing next season now that he's, I guess in theory, had his meeting with Art Rooney II, and they've both allegedly agreed that, you know, they need to go their own separate ways?
So, you know, all week, you know, Adam Schefter and the major reporters have been saying the Steelers and the Packers have been the front runners of Saints, all for Antonio Brown services, the 49ers. So, you know, those are the 4 teams that, you know, you would think about for Antonio Brown. It's really which team is willing to take on that cap situation, and then which one is ready to start the renegotiation of that contract. There's no way Antonio Brown plays that contract next season. So you're going to have to restructure that contract. And Antonio Brown wants to get paid. The problem is, unlike Amari Cooper in Dallas, there's an age behind Antonio Brown. Right. Antonio Brown.
Sure.
I think he's 31?
He's 31.
So he's looking for the long term, but honestly, he has how many good years left in him? 3, maybe 4.
2 to 3. 2 to 3.
You know, he's not the 6'5", you know, target in the red zone.
Right.
His game is predicated on route running and precision skill, and you know he can outrun a lot of defenders. So how long is that really going to last in the NFL, especially when he doesn't have the big size? Because even if you're not the fastest guy in the world, if you're 6'4", you're a red zone target. So I don't know. Do you put? And he said he wants to go to the place where it pays him the most guaranteed money. He's in business for himself now. Right. So it's really the question of, you know, which team is going to do it. Now, can you imagine Aaron Rodgers and Antonio Brown together, or Jimmy Garoppolo? Or can you put Antonio Brown with Drew Brees? Oof,
it's dangerous.
And it's a scary situation. It's scary across the league. But I think the Steelers want draft picks. The Steelers want Arsenal, so that's why the Oakland Raiders are in play as well too. The Raiders have draft picks. And listen, if Gruden wants to go make the play, he's got the picks to do it. So there's a few teams. I just don't want to see him in the Saints. That's the one place I don't want to see him.
Well, I mean, you mentioned the Saints, and I'm immediately start thinking, Antonio Brown goes to the Saints, whose production is going to drop? Michael Thomas or Antonio Brown?
Because Drew Brees spreads the ball so much, I don't think it matters. Because Michael Thomas the reason why Brees threw to Michael Thomas as much as he did is because, listen, I mean, there's nothing against Ted Ginn, but he's throwing to bus drivers, and I mean, look how many different guys caught touchdowns last year. Look how many different receivers caught passes last year. I don't think that outside of the actual diehard NFL fan or diehard Saints fan, the majority of the country can't name at least 3 or 4, no more than 2 or 3 receivers on the Saints receiving corps. They can't. You know, I mean, Tre'Quan Smith is there because he played UCF down here in Orlando, but really, Drew Brees has made a living off making everybody great the same way making average players better than what they are, the same way Tom Brady did for the Patriots. So I don't think nobody's production goes down. I think what happens is the efficiency of everybody goes up. Because you got to think, Michael Thomas dealt with double teams all last year. You put Antonio Brown on the other side, Michael Thomas is even more dangerous. And if you think about Michael Thomas's numbers, I think he caught 90% of the passes Drew Brees threw at him. 90. He might catch everything at that point because there's less pressure. So I think that just makes Michael Thomas even more dangerous. And I don't think AB's production goes down. I think Drew Brees' production goes up, actually.
So as we switch over and start talking about Odell Beckham Jr., a lot of talk, a lot of rumbling about the Patriots were trying to make a move for Odell Beckham Jr. You got Gettleman, who's constantly asked about, are you guys thinking about trading him? And, his stock answer is we didn't sign him to trade him. But do you really see Odell Beckham Jr. having a long, tenured career in New York? Well, New York/New Jersey.
I think so, because if the rumor that came out today by Colin Cowherd is true, Odell Beckham's not going anywhere. So reports have come out saying that Russell Wilson is unhappy in Seattle and wants to play for the Giants.
I heard that. I heard that.
And if that is true, can you imagine Russell Wilson, Odell? You think Odell wants to leave having Russell Wilson as his quarterback with Saquon? Odell would. This would be the best quarterback Odell's had, because no offense to Eli Manning, Russell Wilson makes plays. It is what it is. And can you imagine with Russell Wilson's ability to scramble, how much more dangerous Odell Beckham is, especially the creativity department? Because as we all know, if Odell breaks a route and is going one-on-one with somebody or has to change and improvise, he's one of the best at it. And you give him a quarterback that can hit him on the run and is very accurate and can do the rollouts and do those different things, Beckham would have a field day. So if Russell Wilson wants to play in New York, I don't think Beckham goes anywhere, because I'm sure that you're selling Russell Wilson on Odell Beckham, which would be the best receiver he's ever had. No offense to Doug Baldwin.
Well, like I said, I heard it. I think about 4 hours ago that dropped. Well, then again, it should have been a few hours before that, because it dropped during Colin Cowherd's show, or
I think it was. Show? It might have been during his Fox show this morning.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's a game changer right there.
It changes everything. Can you imagine the Giants getting a Russell Wilson? How that changes the entire NFC East completely. Yeah,
but what would they have to give up?
I mean,
what would they have to give up? And I'm guessing Russell Wilson is going to want a new contract, right?
Well, Russell is under contract right now, and he is one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. I mean, if you're the Giants, would you give Seattle your number one this year and possibly the number one next year?
Whew. I think I want a quarterback problem in the future. A 1 and a 2.
I mean, if you think about it, Ted, what would you rather have, Dwayne Haskins or Russell Wilson?
See, Wilson allows you to kick it in gear immediately, and you are immediately a problem. Where Haskins,
you might
2 years out.
Yeah, and the thing is, you don't know what you're getting with rookie quarterbacks. You don't know what you're getting. You know what you're getting with Russell Wilson.
And then they're going to hit that wall, and then everything else, and yada, 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 and all of this. And, becoming acclimated to New York, and it's a big city, and
you're bringing on a quarterback that's won. You're bringing on a quarterback that's won 10 games every year he's been a starter, and has also won a Super Bowl championship. Should be 2.
Yep.
But he's battle tested. He's battle tested. He knows how to win.
So what is this between Pete Carroll and his key players? Like, why, one by one,
Maybe it's
Because
wearing thin.
I heard Earl Thomas is getting. They're going to let him just be a free agent.
Yeah, I think it's the running thin. It's just running thin. Guys are great for a few years, and then really, the Seahawks are not as the Seahawks are losing guys. The Legion of Boom, what got them there, a lot of those guys are gone. Dan Quinn's in Atlanta, as the head coach out there. Darrell Bevell, I don't think he's the offense coordinator anymore. I don't think. They've changed so much of the staff, and you got to think personnel has been changed. The entire Legion of Boom secondary is now gone. All of them are gone. The only one left is Chancellor. And you got to think Legion of Boom was the best secondary in football. And it made them who they are. It made the passers. Michael Bennett's gone. What made the Seahawks are now gone. Marshawn Lynch. It's been a lot of turnover, and in Pete Carroll's case, the act might just run thin. It might run its course. Sometimes guys run its course. That could be in a Pete Carroll. Because you chase Russell Wilson off at this point, you're starting from scratch.
That's true.
Like you said, the Giants window opens up, but the Seahawks window closes, and you have to start fresh.
Right. Hey, so let's talk a little AAF. Last couple of weeks, a lot of talk about the ratings. This past afternoon, Saturday afternoon, they won the competition in the 18-49 demo with the TNT game at 2 p.m. Eastern. So I know you're in a city where you have an AAF team. What's your take on it, and is it sustainable as a development league for the NFL?
Well, we're truly excited, and it's great to be leading the demographic 18 to 49. But I'm gonna play devil's advocate. What was it actually going against? I want to see the competition that was going against an 18 to 49 section on a Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m. on NBA All-Star Weekend. I'm not sure what the ratings look like, but if you're winning that category, I just want to know what we're going against. But no, as far as I think the AAF goes, I think it's still growing. Now, the growing concern this week was the fact that they had to get a $250 million, investment from the Carolina Hurricanes owner, I think it was Tom Rendon, and now Rendon takes over as the chairman of the board as of Tuesday. So they had to get money for the league, and it seems kind of scary. In the second week of the year, you have to get a $250 million, influx of cash. So it's a little scary, but I think with anything, the growing pains of the league, and there's actually been some solid football the first couple of weeks. If you watch Gary Gilbert down here in Orlando, he threw for 400 yards last week. Quinn Q Patton of the team in Birmingham. I think he leads the league in receiving. So I have a feeling, Ted, to be honest with you, that some of these guys that are in this development league are going to make the NFL. And I think when that happens, I think you'll start seeing more fans come to these games. I think that the television ratings go up because once they start seeing guys get promoted up to the NFL and get on these rosters, that's when the change happens. Because right now, is it sustainable? It won't be sustainable if those guys don't make the NFL. If those guys don't make not just the practice squad, but actually make the 53-man roster. Not just make it the training camp, but be part of the opening day roster. When we start seeing guys graduate to the NFL, that's why I think you start seeing more fans come, and I think the talent gets better. And then it becomes a true developmental league, and that's what they want. Now, when XFL 2020 starts, we'll see how that begins. But I think it's sustainable. They have television partners, and you have people who ran the NFL or play in the NFL trying to take care of player safety and take care of the things that players are looking for. But at the end of the day, I just think that it's a lot better football than I expected this early, if that makes sense.
Well, so tell me this much. Saturday night, think about this. Saturday night, do you get pumped? Let's just say you're staying home, you're not going anywhere. You go pick up your Blaze Pizza, and do you really think, hey, I'm going to sit down and watch the AAF on CBS Sports Network? or an NFL Network on Saturday at 8 p.m.?
I think it all depends on what kind of sports weekend it is. Because, Ted, both of us, we're big fight guys. We love watching the fights. And because the AAF games, and one thing about it, the time of the AAF games are amazing because it is right around 2.5 hours. So if let's just say you have a UFC fight or a good boxing card, you can watch the AAF and lead yourself right into a boxing card. So I don't mind it on a Saturday night, especially if there's a non-marquee matchup in the NBA because the NBA is the NBA in my eyes. But I can see myself watching an AAF game. Why not? Football is football. And if it's quality football, and these are guys that play hard, and I know it's not the NFL, but they're giving me everything they have, and it's solid quality football, I can sit in front of the TV. Why not? I can do that, especially with a fight going on. You lead yourself right into the fight, and you're not missing much. Let's do it. I'm down for that on Saturday.
Okay.
Big shout out to Blaze Pizza, by the way. Good pizza.
So I want to see on the ratings topic, I'm going to say the NBA television doldrums so far this season are happening at the local level, too. So where regional sports network ratings from 28 U.S.-based teams have dropped 10% on average at the All-Star break compared to the same point as last year. Overall, most of the regional sports networks have posted rating gains this season. 15 have seen TV ratings increase in the first part of the season, and 13 have seen TV ratings decrease. I just want to know if you're surprised or not. I'm going to say the drop-off is most pronounced in some of the biggest markets, like New York, it's down 41% on MSG Network. Chicago, down 36% on NBC Sports Chicago. And Boston, down 27% on NBC Boston. Of course, we know the ratings are up on Spectrum Sportsnet with the Lakers by 42% because of that anomaly. Now, from a regional standpoint, from a national standpoint, national games are down 18% on TNT, 17% on NBA TV, and ABC is down 3%, and ESPN is flat. Do we blame LeBron James for all of this?
I think in some cases the switching from LeBron from east to west does make a bit of a difference. Because let's be honest, the Eastern Conference games, there's not as many stars in the Eastern Conference, and you're not showing Cleveland, which everybody knows LeBron. So now you have to play LeBron late or a lot of nights. And people in the East Coast don't want to stay up that late. It's just, it's always been the fact of watching a LeBron James game early and then the Warriors play late. That's how it's been for the last few years. So, you're getting, and now, like, for example, Friday night, you have to watch, there's nothing wrong with the matchup, but it's the Spurs and the Raptors on a Friday night. Unless you're really emotionally vested to see DeMar DeRozan's return, you're probably not going to watch it. But if it was the Spurs and Cavs on a Friday night, you're watching it because of LeBron James. So I think the LeBron effect going out east affects the national side of things because it forces the networks to have to play and find teams in the Eastern Conference that are worth watching. On the flip side of things, why are the regional sports networks down? Let's be honest. You mentioned New York. You mentioned Chicago. Both teams are playing are 2 of the 5 worst teams in the NBA right now. Why is MSG down 40+%? No one wants to watch the Knicks get obliterated every single night. No. But Ted, let's have this conversation 1 year from now if Zion Williamson's drafted and they sign Kevin Durant, for example, or they sign 2 max free agents next summer. I guarantee that 41% of the negative will be 41% positive, and the Knicks will probably have the best ratings anywhere. They'll probably eclipse the Lakers. Chicago is the same way. We all know if the NBA has Chicago and New York on its radar and it's playing some of its best basketball, television ratings go up. They're 2 of the biggest markets in the country. Now, why is Boston down? Well, Boston hasn't lived up to the hype so far this year. They haven't lived up to the hype. They've been inconsistent. And They're right now. I think they're fourth in the Eastern Conference right now.
It's true.
And Boston's supposed to be the elite Rolls-Royce Maserati team in the Eastern Conference. They haven't been like that all season. And who has been that way? It's the team in Canada and it's the team in Milwaukee. Nobody knows who Giannis is. I mean, yes, Giannis was the leading vote getter, but if we could really look at the ballots to see where the majority of Giannis' votes came from, it might be a little different discrepancy. And Toronto doesn't get any respect on United States television anyway. We've known this for years. Guarantee if you look at the ratings over in Canada, when they're playing on national TV in Canada, they'll probably go through the roof. But let's see how the Raptors rate in the United States. This doesn't work that way. So there's ways you can fix it. And I think let's look at the ratings next year, especially if guys shift back over to the Eastern Conference, some of the star power, and then I think you'll see a change in ratings. I think that's what it's. There'll be if household names change to the Eastern Conference, it changes things.
So, as we segue from this is Ted Hicks with Late Night Parents. Ways to follow the show is latenightparents.com. We're speaking with Danny Thompson, founder, owner, chairman, president, CEO of AroundAssociation.com. Great podcast and other iterations, great radio show also. Danny, tell me about that viral video that everyone's talking about with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Is it a big talk about nothing? I mean, don't they know the cameras are going 24/7?
I mean, at this point in the game, yeah, everybody knows who the camera's going 24/7. The real interesting thing is who initiated that conversation. Was it KD initiating to Kyrie, or was it Kyrie initiating to KD? Who is recruiting who? Who is making that initial conversation? We've all known for years the All-Star Game has been one big recruiting show. It is what it is. This year, with the NBA having so many All-Stars that are potential free agents, of course, the game of let's play together starts around the league. And if guys talk to one another, it's not tampering. It's just that Magic Johnson says something, it's tampering. So,
oh my goodness.
So the conversation, it could lead to nothing, but just remember, how did Kevin Durant get to Golden State? It was a conversation between him and Draymond Green. How did LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh get together? It was all because of Team USA, which is like one big All-Star meeting. How did Kyrie Irving and Jimmy Butler become best of friends? It was during Team USA, which is basically one of the reasons why they said those two guys at one time wanted to play together. So the All-Star Game is just one big, I think, recruiting show. And let's be honest, maybe Kevin or Kyrie went to the other one and said, hey, listen, let's go do this in New York. Let's take our talents, go to New York, and hey, if we really wanted to, maybe we can convince James Dolan to give that pickup and go get Anthony Davis. And me, your relationship with AD and my ability, the three of us could win the entire championship in the biggest mecca in the world. Or it can be just a conversation, or it can be a conversation just about nothing about, hey, who's going to shoot the ball more in the All-Star game? We don't know. But which one of us is not going to pass LeBron? I don't know. But I think at the end of the day, it's just guys got together during the All-Star game. I guarantee conversations were had. Because there's a rumor that those two guys had dinner in Miami earlier this week. Durant and Kyrie had dinner in Miami.
Ah, okay.
So who knows?
So, hey, is LeBron James really going to miss the playoffs in his first season in Los Angeles?
If he does, he better change his zip code. He better move to, if he misses the playoffs in a Lakers uniform, he might as well move to Guam.
So basically you're saying the pitchforks are going to be out there for him.
Pitchfork's not the word. If they do not make the playoffs, the pitchforks will be in full force for LeBron James to be removed Can you imagine, especially the Kobe fans that don't want LeBron there in the first place? Can you imagine the legacy LeBron James has of you coming to Los Angeles and you miss the playoffs in a Lakers uniform? That could be a death blow to anything that LeBron does in L.A. They have to make the playoffs. It's just not looking good right now. But remember, it takes LeBron James one big winning streak to fix all this. They go on a 9 out of 10, 12 and 15 in a row, 12 wins in 15 games. It takes one of those streaks, and then everybody forgets that they were about to miss the playoffs. And if anybody can pull it off, it's LeBron James. LeBron can pull it off. Remember, before he got hurt in December, the Lakers were fourth in the Western Conference.
That's true. All right. I mean,
it makes interesting television. It makes interesting television. It's going to raise the NBA's ratings, especially down the stretch. Can you imagine the Lakers are playing for an 8th spot in the playoffs the final 2 weeks of the season? The ratings of watching the Lakers potentially miss the playoffs, to see LeBron James' face, ratings will go through the roof.
That would be must-see TV, and I think that's what ESPN and TNT are waiting for.
Or Ted, can you imagine if we get the Lakers as the 8th seed in the playoffs, and an opening round matchup with the Golden State Warriors?
Yeah, I could see it, but I don't see much coming from it.
Ted, every person on the East Coast will be staying up for those games.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, we might see we will see the highest numbers on a cable. I think we'll have the highest numbers for a series with those two teams in the opening round. I think it would blow away any playoff series in the last 10 years. How many people will watch, especially especially being on the West Coast, people will stay up to watch that. Just to see if LeBron can overcome the Warriors with that Lakers team.
So I got to ask you about an article we did. It's about Overtime, the new digital high school basketball streaming network. Overtime is similar to Mars Real. At what point, I don't want to say at what point does it stop, meaning I know social media runs the world, everyone's connected, blah, 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 blah. Are we going to get to the point when we're going to be recording videos and uploading videos of 10-year-olds playing basketball? Tell me about your understanding or the business behind these social media digital networks recording for high school sports.
It's making kids stars right now. The same way that, my daughter, who's 5, is watching Ryan's toy review. A little kid reviewing toys.
Right.
And guess what? Every single kid from the age of 3 to about 9 watches this little boy review toys. And it's the same way. Places like Overtime, like Mars Hills and those places, they make stars out of these kids. And it's not a bad thing, but it gives you get unprecedented access to see the future stars that are going to college basketball, going to college football. And it gives you an interest in watching because guess what, Ted? These guys aren't staying in school anyway. Can you imagine if we had Overtime back in the early 90s, in high school basketball, with guys like Chris Webber and those guys even went to college if you had Overtime? You had these great high school players, and there was no outlet. Now, because guys have to go to school for 1 year, at least when you have a guy who signs, I'll give you an example. Anthony Edwards, the 5-star shooting guard that signed at Georgia. Ted, he reclassified, but he's potentially the best, the number 1 pick in next year's draft. He's going to Georgia. If you go all over Overtime, he's there. So if you've never heard of him or you're not from the Atlanta area, you can see how special this kid is. He's the most special two-guard that we've seen in years, other than R.J. Barrett. And he's going to Georgia. And guess what? By the time by the time he steps on Athens campus, because he's so known because the place is like Overtime, he's already going to be must-watch television. So I think places like Overtime is actually doing a great service because it's giving these kids a chance to profile themselves. And guess what? If you become popular on there, guess what? You might earn a scholarship that you might have never earned if you didn't have that platform. So I think it's beneficial to the kids because the players that people don't know about get a chance to be shown, and they might end up in better college situations than they ever did, which can lead them to better professional situations if that situation were to happen.
All right, that's valid. That's valid, and I can see that none other than Carmelo Anthony, along with MSG Networks and venture capital firm Spark Capital, they're bucking up $23 million in Series B funding. So as we see with the fundings of some of these startups, this funding process is an ongoing process. Hey, Facebook Watch signed a deal with the NBA to air highlights. Do I really need another platform to review, I guess, the standard highlights?
Why not? Most people spend time on their phones anyway. Why not? Why not be able to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning like most folks do and go to the bathroom and sit on your phone for a few minutes and just catch highlights? Because you don't have League Pass or you didn't have a chance to watch the game. Why not? I mean, we sit here and watch, people watch viral videos all night or all day. Why not be able to watch NBA highlights on your phone? I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't think it's oversaturating the market. It's just drawing more attention to the league, and especially right now where people are craving for sports because the NFL is finished. So yeah, I think it's a great move by the NBA to work with Facebook and put out Facebook Watch. As long as the video clips aren't long and you pretty much get to the point, 90 seconds, you'll be fine.
All right, before I get on out of here, I do have to ask you a prediction. And I'm not asking you a bold prediction. I'm just going to ask you, where is Bryce Harper going? Where is he going? Who's he going to sign with? And is it going to be a contract similar to Manny Machado, where it has an early opt-out, early player opt-out, or is it going to be your standard, hey, I'm signing for this amount of years for this amount of dollars?
I think Scott Boras is going to get the 5-year opt-out. I think he's going to go 10 for $350 with the Philadelphia Phillies. Opt-out in year 5.
Okay.
Because I think at that same time that puts him in the Mike Trout situation. So if Harper doesn't work out, the Phillies can lure the hometown kid home.
Trout has 2 years left on his deal.
Well,
he has 2 years left on his deal. Truthfully, with us being Met homers, I was hoping for the Wilpons to buck up, offer the man maybe a 4-year deal with an opt-out after 1 year.
Who, Harper?
Yeah.
Though, I think with baseball being different than the NBA, I think because Harper plays a position where he does so much defensively and offensively, he's going to need that long-term Albert Pujols money. But at the same time, Harper's, 25?
Yeah, 25, 26.
So 25, 26. So if you give him an opt-out after year 4, year 5, you're putting him at a free agent right around 30, 31, 32. 31, 32, depending on when he decides to do the opt-out. And you have a chance to hit a second big contract the same way Manny Machado does. So I think Scott Boras is going to demand that. But I think in the Phillies' case, I think the Phillies are going to ask for a team option as well as a player option. which that reason why I say the number goes to around 350, 360. Because if the team has the option, they can say, you know what, we're not going to be on the hook for this. Unlike Machado's contract, which is he has the option whether to say, okay, at 31. I think the Phillies will ask Scott Boras to give them a team option on top of this. So if it gets to be bad, the albatross doesn't have to last, but they have to give up more money. So I think that's where they come to the middle of it. But I think Harper gets the biggest contract in the history of professional sports. And I think he gets to the first part next week.
Okay. Final two questions. I'm going back to basketball, and I'm going to say,
okay,
could the Anthony Davis dealing been handled any worse? With
the only thing could have been worse if Anthony Davis would have showed up in a media outfit wearing purple and gold. Or if Magic Johnson would have done an interview with a connected eyebrow.
Oh, my goodness.
Could have gotten worse? Yes. One or both those situations happen, it gets worse.
I saw a video where Magic just said, hey, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to stop talking. I can't talk about this. I'm walking away.
Yes, for those who don't remember, my good friend Vashti Hurt, otherwise known as Carolina Blitz, big shout out to her, she asked Magic Johnson a question during All-Star Weekend about Kemba Walker, and Magic said, oh, you're not going to get me caught for tampering. So I'm not talking about nobody's player. Because the question was, about Kemba Walker being at home for the All-Star game in the meeting, and Magic goes, I'm not talking about any player right now. Don't ask. So, yeah. I think we all learned from this. But, yeah, the best way Magic could have played this off was wearing a complete connected eyebrow, or Anthony Davis just does an interview in complete purple and gold.
On a serious note, Jussie Smollett from Empire, I'm going to say allegedly because we still don't know what happened. We're hearing a lot of different things. Would you like to give some words of wisdom?
I will give. When it comes to that, I just want to make sure before I say anything like to that magnitude that all the evidence is presented. I just don't want to make an assumption on something just yet. I'm not saying he's wrong or he's right in the situation. I just want to get confirmed evidence before I make a statement like that. Because right now, the way it's sounding, it doesn't look good. It doesn't at all. Like, this guy's career is probably over. Like, not only did he used the racial card, he also used the LBGT card at the same time. He used both of them. So if this situation is not true, he's now used both the cards to. I don't even know why he used them. So it's like where is this going with this? Like I don't know. It's just weird. Like, why would he do this? Like, what was his motive? Was he trying to draw attention? What was the reason behind it? So I want to know more about it before I make that, my opinion on it. But as of right now, if this was the final answer based on what I know, like, you just threw your entire career away for what? A few minutes of attention, which backfired. You kind of get blackballed for stuff like that, and I don't want to see it to happen to him because he's such a great talent. So I'm going to let the chips fall for this one, but it don't look good for him right now. Not at all.
Hey, I want to tell you this much, that this past weekend I was at Bellator 216, and I got to tell you that there wasn't a worse main card headlining matchup than MVP versus Daly. Thankfully, the undercard was totally exciting. Those guys and gals were totally engaged, and also in tune with the fans on what they wanted to see with mixing it up. But Daly versus MVP, even with 50 Cent there, was a total thumbs down. Final question for you is, I know you're a Samsung lover. I know you're an Android OS lover. You know, the internet almost broke today with Samsung's almost $2,000 foldable smartphone. Are you getting it? Or better, I guess the better question is, when are you getting yours?
Well, $2,000 is a lot of money. I mean, I could do a lot with $2,000. It would have the price for it to come down. Like, I love my Android phones, and I think the phone. I've read about it, and the phone seems to be like phenomenal. It's like something you saw in the Jetsons. Now it's come to life. But a $2,000 price tag, you know, I'm like I said, folks buy Apple phones the second they come out. You know, they save every dollar possible to get an Apple phone, and there'll be plenty of folks that will save money for this phone, the Samsung phone. But the way my life is set up, I can't be one of those. But now, for a Black Friday special, I might be down for it then.
All right. Sounds good. Hey, tell us about the podcast. Tell us about the website. Tell us how often you post with your blogs and the live cast and the Facebook Watch and everything else.
Well, you know, once again, Ted, it's been a pleasure being on this podcast again. You know, I enjoy getting these chats with you. I get invited to come on. You know, I get these invites very rarely. So you can catch me on Twitter at Danny3 Thompson. Yes, that's DANNY. The number 3 and Thompson. The website is aroundtheassociation.com. Please check it out. Posting almost on a daily basis. The podcast, which is Around the Association, the podcast is on Spotify. It's on iTunes. It's on Spreaker. A host of other podcasting sites. Just about to drop another podcast tonight, previewing the Eastern Conference, what to watch for. I did the Western Conference one yesterday. The Eastern Conference one will be up right around 11 o'clock tonight. The podcast is really the concept of it, Ted. You know, it's 15-minute podcast, something you can basically listen to on your way to work, listen to on your lunch break, or even your simple break at work, or at any point in time. Now with the second half of the season, and things are a little bit more calmer around the league, I can start podcasting more, and I can take a topic and really just expound on something fun. And like I said, the podcast will be up a lot more often than what it was. We're trying to go daily, but at least 3 to 4, maybe 5 pods a week, starting for the rest of the season through the off season, especially through the draft. And then when July 1 gets here, it's going to be even more crazier. But check us out there, and also contributing for ProPlayerInsiders.com. I will be writing stuff throughout the off season as well too. So I'm in a whole bunch of places, and I enjoying life for what it is. That's what it is.
Last question is, how do you get all these thoughts within a 15-minute podcast? Because you and I, we sit, we talk, we chat all the time, and this stuff sometimes goes for hours. This podcast alone here has been at least 50, almost 54 minutes, and we touch MLB, NHL, NFL, AAF, streaming. We've touched media with ratings. We've touched I don't know what else we have. We
talked Jesse Smollett. We talked a lot of things in the last hour. So yeah, I think with the podcast on my end is that I don't go into too many topics. So I kind of look at it as like a radio show. Radio shows have 4 segments. And I take what would be considered one segment and do a podcast. So I take one topic and be able to expound on it. If I want to talk about more, then I can. But I have a 15-minute platform to do it. Like I said, I like doing things very, very quickly, and being able to put, not oversaturate the material, Ted, because as you realize, like you said, you want to be able to have stuff that reaches the masses at different points in time. So I try to do things on a daily, not talk about what just happened, but think about things the long term, like you said earlier. But the 15-minute pod, I think, for 1, maybe 2 topics is just enough. I'm not going into a full-fledged radio show. I'm giving you something, what I'm talking about in a particular topic, and being able to expound on it the same way I would write an article on it.
So are you recording this through telephony service? Or are you doing this on your phone?
To our good friends at Spreaker. Our good friends at Spreaker.
Oh, okay.
So the podcast is recorded through Spreaker, and it's distributed, like I said, it's on Spotify, it's on YouTube, it's on iTunes, it's on Spreaker.com. It's through Spreaker, so you type it around the association, and it's even on the actual player on the actual website. So if you go to the website and you go on the site, you'll see in the corner the latest episode of the podcast on there as well too. So we make sure it's accessible everywhere.
You got it. Danny, as always, thank you, man.
Ted, like I said, anytime you would love to have me on, I'll always make the time to come on.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
You too. Hello?